So, our journey has reached that what is the ultimate cause of suffering. At the same time, understanding, we were understanding the impurities of the mind, and there are conventional methods, and there is a best method, is known as the self-inquiry. But before we continue, ask yourself, how do you find the journey? What changes is taking place in your life in terms of your behavior, attitude, responses to the people, relations, family, and the objects? How many times you were upset since the last session? How many times you were anxious, busy, or your mind says, I'm fully busy, I have a lot of things to do? Means obviously we are not organized. Remember this. We have no right to die. I just discussed in the last session, we have no right to die before we learn and study and to find out who am I. What was let me rephrase this. How I perceive, how I look at it, people, relations, situation, and events in my daily life. What is my response? Internal response. Outer response we can manipulate. What is my inner response? The moment we look at a person, situation, event, so that will give us the right information whether we are applying the conventional method rightly or not. Mind remains calm. It's carefree. That's why I use the two words, being comfortable and being carefree. All the time, you wake up in the morning, you are comfortable and carefree, you sleep, go to the bed, you are comfortable and carefree. That will tell us how deeply and intensively we are applying the conventional method in our daily life, at the personal level, at the professional level, at the social level, at the family level. So that also brings us an understanding. Being spiritual means I'm approaching to the real self. And because I'm looking at the real self, I'm approaching the real self, there is always a calm and the peace. So being spiritual is not to be taken as being religious or non-religious. Normally we say, I'm not a religious. So whether you are not a religious or whether you are a religious, the mind is always looking outside. It is looking at the objective reality. It does not make any difference. So that is why we see those people who say I'm religious and those who say I'm not non-religious. It does not make any difference in their life, in their behavior and attitude. So being spiritual means I'm approaching to the real self. So when I say I'm religious and I'm non-religious, it means I am making a preferences. Look at the very subtler level of the journey, the impurity of the mind. So I'm making a preference. I'm religious and I'm non-religious. It's a preference. So from where the preference comes? From the likes and dislikes. What is dislikes? Like and dislike. It is one of the pair of impurities. So don't give too much of attention. I'm non-religious and I'm a religious person. I'm a God-fearing person. It does not make any difference in the lives of the people, whether we are God-fearing or not. So our preferences remains the same at a very subtler level. Restlessness, likes and dislikes, and desire, hesitation, and greed. Just think of it. You need not to believe it. And the third impurity, it lives, mind continues to live in ignorance. And when we have those preferences guided by the commander in chief, then we are doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result. Are you getting it? I'm just combining all those uh, lessons that we have learned. So why we are doing the same thing again and again, even when we are 100% sure I cannot expect a different result, it is because of the commander-in-chief who gives us those preferences. We apply those preferences in our daily life. And then again, we accumulate the impurities in our mind. And then we blame and complain the world. What to do? Conventional method in daily life. We have come to a conclusion: live with the connect, contribute, celebrate, and being grateful. What is this actually? You are performing action through your thinking, speech, and action. So when we perform thinking with thinking, speaking, and acting in our personal, professional, and social life by connecting, contributing, and celebrating is going to purify the mind. And we have already discussed about 5 different types of yasna, austerity. We also mentioned about how the crow continues the effort, putting the pebbles to drink the water, focus like a swan, sleep like a dog, and filter unwanted thoughts. It is the commander-in-chief invites the unwanted thoughts in your life. Just apply those principles and you will realize. One master says that even if you apply the conventional method, it saves us from great fears, frustration, and failure in day-to-day living. Otherwise, we fail many a time. Someone says something, we feel insulted. Commander-in-chief. He may be right, but I feel insulted. Look at it. So it means I'm seeking insult. So I have a preference. I'm seeking praise, not insult. So the mind remains completely absorbed into the conventional method. So if conventional methods purify the mind, what happens? We discussed it becomes a shock absorber. It gives you a sense of emotional freedom. Wrong notions are gone from the life. We start following what is right and good in our life. There is a rise of awareness. There is a natural state of peace and calm and wisdom. Now reverse this. If I don't live into the natural state of peace, calm, love, and the wisdom in my personal, professional, and social life, when you reverse this, what happens? I'm actually busy. My boss is not good. My honey is causing a problem. So I start blaming and complaining the world. And obviously we go back. We start doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result. And then nothing happens. So what we are discussing, impure mind is an unqualified mind that cannot discover the real self and cannot end the suffering in our life. That is the conclusion. So it means only a qualified mind can lead us to the realization of the real self. So what it means by the qualified mind? That is pure. There is a sense of restfulness. Then only we can enter into the journey of the self-inquiry. Otherwise, self-inquiry will not work. Then the self-inquiry will work at the intellectual level. You will say, oh, this big guy, what he's saying is right. And after this session, the mind will go back to the same stuff again. That is the biggest problem. But before we start with the best method, we should invoke. And that is what we discussed last time. We are awake, but are we aware to invoke the spaciousness? What do you mean by auspiciousness? So you think and feel what we are going to achieve. And the best way is to namaste. Namaste means I'm you and you are me. So it means it gives me a feeling that we both are essentially one at the innermost level. Same thing you can apply even to so-called, let me invoke the higher power so that whatever I think, speak, and act in today life at the personal, professional, and social level should follow what is right and good. So there are many ways of invocation. We'll talk in detail. So that, and we have to, invocation is also that thanks existence that I am alive today. We don't know what is going to happen next hour. So we do not ignore what we already have. When we ignore, we fall into ignorance. That is the moment you ignore what we already have. I'm alive today. I'm talking to you. I don't know what is going to happen tomorrow or the next hour. So that way, by creating that state of auspiciousness, we start the journey. The mind reminds you, you become aware. Oh, mind is already pure. Now I can do the best, I can apply the best method. And the best method is the self-inquiry. So again, remember that what happens to the best method in the self-inquiry can only be done, we know, in a waking state. We cannot do self-inquiry in the dream or the sleep state. It's an unconscious state. Even in the dream state, we don't know anything. Even in the dream state, we are sleeping to the world outside. That is what I mean. Sleep state is already an unconscious state. So do you still remember that why the self-inquiry is the best method? Because it attacks directly the ignorance. The effect is the impurity, ignorance is the cause. So if we directly attack that, we directly attack ignorance. So if I remove the ignorance, the impurity will go away. Knowledge is what I have to do with hatred and love. What I have, why I should blame and complain. This is the mode of thinking in the self-inquiry. Oh, my honey said me something, let me endure. Why? Because I'm living with a honey. He or she is my honey. Are you getting it? There is a sense of awareness, awake and awareness. Ashokji? So impurity is the effect, ignorance is the cause. So self-inquiry directly deals with the ignorance, so the effects are also gone. Then we went into we discuss what are the impurities, likes and dislikes, one pair, desire, agitation, and greed, or repeat desire. You see, the greed pushes my mind to continue to live in the same way and expecting a different result. I'm just giving a thought to you. You have to contemplate. Greed does not mean that, I'm very greedy about the money, etc. No, I have to look at my life, my behavior and attitude. Am I doing the same thing again and again? So deep inside, it is a greed. That is the three trio: desire for seeking peace and happiness, desire for food, If you are a spiritual, the food will not come to your mouth. It has nothing to do with it. So I have to desire for food, desire for maintenance of my livelihood. It has to come from the world outside. But the desire for seeking peace and happiness, that needs to be dealt with it. And the third is the ego and the selfishness. Where to find them? We discussed that we have to find them only in a waking state. But also in a waking state, we keep sleeping. Why we keep sleeping? Because of the impurities of the mind. The mind is always cooking the story inside. When you look at some person, oh, I have reached to the workplace, my boss is crazy. Why? What right you have to think about it? Do your work. Commit to your what you need to do. Oh, the same honey again. Are you looking for many honeys? That these ideas and the thoughts causes lot of challenges in our life, and then we just live into that state of habit unconsciously for hours together, and then my mind reminds me I have to do a lot of things, and that's how I become awfully busy. Now see, otherwise, I have to take couple of sessions and then I devote myself on writing and then I will take rest. That is all. But out of the entire day, if I spend 5 hours not being aware but awake, are you understanding that? Not being aware of what the mind is doing, but still awake. So I'm not aware but awake. In that state of being awake but not aware is the field of your mood swing, is the field of your being upset, is the field of your crazy thoughts, blaming and complaining, because you are already giving an opportunity to the mind. Are you getting it? So once you are giving, we need to recognize these impurities in a waking state. So what we need to do, I told you the very first step is you are awake and check, are you aware what's happening into your mind? So once you are aware, go to the Mangalacharan, being auspiciousness. Then find out the situation, in which situation and condition you are. Then apply the conventional method. And get rid of the impure mind. How much time it takes? Fraction of a second. Because from awake plus awareness plus being auspicious, oh, I'm living today. Thank you, existence. So the mind, instead of blaming and complaining and reacting to the others, it returns to yourself. Where is the meaning of returning to yourself? I gave you the first. I said spiritual being, I am approaching to the real self. That is how I'm linking it. So waking spray, oh, let me connect and contribute and celebrate. So what we are exactly doing by this, we are pushing that commander-in-chief to go into the background by conventional method. By self-inquiry, we transform this commander-in-chief. That is the difference. Without self-inquiry, this commander-in-chief will never be transformed. But by conventional method, we are replacing it. We are replacing it. And I told you last time, can the wave is blaming that I am suffering. The wave do not recognize that I am the water. That is the difference between the ripe ego and the unripe ego. Now see, in the entire journey, if you see clearly, Eastern wisdom, our masters says that how many things you have, own and like to possess, we are not at all concerned. What age you belong to, what is your gender, what is your education, they all come from outside. We are not at all concerned about your power, pleasure and possession in the world. Nothing is required. Do we need anything to discover the real self, to find the permanent peace and happiness? Do we need any space, time, effort? By using the conventional method, you are ready all the time. Again, use the same awake, aware, apply the discernment and dispassion, then go to the conventional methods. That situation turns into a positive situation in your life. There and then, it has such a great power. We don't need any space and time. You don't say, let me practice meditation and come out, honey, now my mood is all right. You apply the conventional method, you are awake, aware of spaciousness, and you're done. We see that. So if we look at clearly, then what happens? Because of conventional methods, now the mind gives the space to the intellect to think rightly. Then only the self-inquiry will work. Are you getting it? Mind dictates the intellect. The knowledge sleeps, nothing is going to happen. So in order for the self-inquiry to begin in our life, the intellect should dictate the mind. That is why through the intellect, I become aware by thinking or spaciousness, discernment and dispassion, applying the conventional method. Now I'm ready for the self-inquiry. And that is going to help us a lot. You need not to worry about if someone blames you that, no, you don't have this, you have such a negative behavior. You just apply these principles. Everything will fall into the right place. So those people who are calm, relaxed, whose intellect dictates over the mind, guides the mind, because the mind has all those impurities. The knowledge, intellect is knowledge. So that intellect now guides through what? Intellect realizes I have preferences. So when the I is linked to the preferences, my intellect does not think. Mind dictates with the likes and dislikes. Where lies the preferences? Objective world. Being spiritual means that I'm approaching to the real self. When? Every time, here and now, 24/7. So what is the problem with the preferences? I'm summarizing. Preferences, we have a problem with the preferences, threefold problem. Impurity, restlessness of the mind, and ignorance. So what happens with these impurities? My life expects that I should live differently, but we are doing the same thing. So what we have to do? Invoke the Mangalacharan, being auspiciousness, apply, we connect to the people outside, connect to, contribute, and celebrate your life. I can tell you, if you think, for example, you go to the Walmart, cashier is there. So internally, if you think I am contributing to his life or her life the way he or she is contributing to my life standing at the counter. Are you getting it? Your mind will expand naturally. Normally, what we think is Walmart squeezes everything, makes us crazy. They sell worthless good. Don't buy it. Who says you to buy it? Do you see the understanding of the mind? The mind is not aware. Mind is not aware. So we bring about a change in ourselves. That is more important. There must be some good thing, good stuff, bad stuff is always there. And it has some preferences. So we get rid of that idea in our life. Because if we have those preferences, we come back home. Oh, my dad is crazy. That's why he gave birth to you. Unnecessary, unwanted thoughts. Then what happens? Now, conventional method you are applying in daily life, your mind will become very subtle. No, I need to do it. Let me think that in what way I can connect and contribute to the people. The girl, I gave one session in New Jersey. She sent a message that I read and heard that in India, teachers of the Eastern wisdom provide the teaching free of cost. I said, yes. Why free of cost? Because it is priceless. You're talking of subjective reality. Can you buy the subjective reality? What is the cost? Because I have to yet to teach them this conventional method. So their mind is already full of that. So now I asked her the next question. Okay, it is free. Tell me what you will do with that money. Is a pleasure seeking in the world? Yes, definitely. Because I want to save the money and I should save the money. Now, can you spare some money not seeking the pleasure outside in the world, but discovering your peace and happiness? That is why it is priceless. And that is why it is free. So what is going to happen? You think that this much of money I'm sparing for this guy is one thing, but you are sparing for peace and happiness inside. That is also a conventional method. And that is very much popular in everywhere. We go and donate something. We do the social service, but we miss one point. Commander-in-chief is active. We don't apply the conventional method. So that adds more impurities. I have done social service. Then what? Don't talk about it. Whatever you offer from the right hand, the left hand should not know. That is why we have that proverb. So when we follow this entire journey, now the mind is rested, it understands what it needs to do, and then we can enter into the self-inquiry, the best method. And we are going to start in detail, step by step, how this self-inquiry helps us to move into the instant state of the mindfulness. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed and eyes are closed and being comfortable, Now you know already, being comfortable, if I say so, no struggle. Because now struggle is not there. The mind enjoys it. Oh, when you are going to say, I will be comfortable here and now, it is because you remember, you are awake and aware. When we are not awake and aware, this mind makes us crazy. Move the mind on the entire body. Entire body? Yes. From the top of the head to the toes. Move it again and feel the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Second point. Second pointed awareness. Again, you see that you are awake and now you are aware of sensation, comfort, and steadiness. This point we miss in our daily life. So why I'm not aware? impurities. Simple way to understand. So what is after sensation, comfort, and steadiness? Your mind will remind it is all about the space. Space is awareness, and awareness is the space. Hold on to that understanding until we move deeper. Being aware, I believe everyone understands the lane 1, lane 2, lane 3. Lane 1, mind, unwanted, unwelcome thoughts. But why it is coming? Because of the impurity. Can I fight with them? No. Jump to the lane 2. What it means, I'm not participating in any unwanted, unwelcome thoughts or those thoughts which adds up the impurity. Oh, it is so simple. I just keep watching them. The moment you are an observer, what happens? You are an observer, you are a witness, you are a knower. The intellect has already pushed you to the state of the calmness. Why? None of these thought belongs to me. I'm none of them. Why I'm none of them? Preferences is not there. You see, the preferences is not there. Normally what people think, oh, I have lot of negative thoughts, how to control them? You need not to control negative thoughts or positive thoughts. Our nature is always positive. That we need to recognize. I summarized in few minutes only, and then we don't leave that sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Let everyone be happy. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Let everyone be happy. I tell you one thing, that even if you recite this mantra in English every day when you wake up or during the day, that is also known as creating an auspiciousness. Don't think only namaste. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. Let there be peace for all. So now I believe you have already understood. You are awake and your awareness expands. It says, let everyone be in peace. Why you say that? You are connecting, you are contributing, you are celebrating your life. Normally say, what will happen if we seek peace for all? Let nothing happen outside, but it happens inside. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Let there be completeness in all. Let there be self-fulfillment. There is another word. You can have a self-fulfillment, you cannot have a desire fulfillment. So when we have a desire, we think of desire fulfillment, we remain incomplete. We begin with a sense of incompleteness because I'm desiring something that is peace and happiness from outside. So that is a sense of incompleteness. So you see that desire fulfillment is replaced by self-fulfillment. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. You are aware that every step we do here has to be related to what we discuss together. Those small and little principles. Why? Knowledge has to be realized. And one of them is the practice that helps us. We still have to purify the mind. Do you still remember the breathing that we need to do it? Look inside the forehead. Look inside the forehead in the space. Om Shanti. Gently drop there in the space. So you remember Om Shanti. Oh, I'm approaching to the real self. That is the meaning of this mantra. And now start breathing quick and short, gentle breath from the chest through both the nostrils. Keep on. 3 minutes we are doing. And I have a purpose for you that you are doing for 3 minutes. And it has become an easy practice almost for everyone, as I feel. Continue. Continue. And stop it. You will discover that sensation, comfort, and steadiness in the body is maintained, and your mind is able to expand and contract the rib cage and recognize and respect. Recognize, respect, and accept the changes that you are getting it. After the session, once the recording is over, I'll tell you something which came to my mind. Now, continue with Om Shanti, and then uh, keep looking inside the forehead in the space and start the belly breathing. It's a longer breath. You inhale, the belly expands. You exhale, the belly contracts. The rest of the body remains in the state of sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Sometime your nostrils are blocked, they will get open. So keep on doing it. Don't complain. Are we purifying the mind? Yes. What is this method? Conventional method. Under what heading it comes? Austerity, endurance. Continue. Longer breath in the chest breathing. Om Shanti continues. Om Shanti, you are doing it through the intellect, which reminds the mind, don't get upset, keep on doing it. That's another point we need to understand. Keep on, continue. And stop this, recognize, respect, and accept the changes that is taking place. Also notice that the mind did not create any challenges during the practice. Those challenges can be understood as the impurities. And the changes that we experience, tingling, numbness, hot, cold, they are helping us to erase those impressions of the impurity of which we are unconscious. Thought, feeling of all the craziness and these impurities of which we are not aware at present, for example. But it triggers, and I become agitated and angry. Oh, they are removed. And now the third, keep on doing Om Shanti and start breathing both from the belly and the chest together. Body remains steady. If the body is swinging, the mind is taking over you. Remember, you have to maintain. You are awake. I know. Then ask yourself, are you aware of doing this step? You inhale, the belly expands, follows the chest expansion. You exhale, the belly squeezes through the chest. This is for you seekers. Those who are not seekers, they should not. We have been doing these practices for length of time, so it's not a big deal. Keep on, continue. You may find the objections by the mind, we notice and we keep on doing it. It happens to a seeker. Mhm. 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 You're awake, yes. You're aware the belly expands and then the chest. That is where the awareness is required. The longer the breath, that is where the awareness is required. So we keep our awareness with that step. Where is going to happen? We don't invite unwanted, unwelcome thoughts. Even the thought that I cannot do will never stay, and you'll be able to do it. Mm, mm, mm. And leave this, stop this, do nothing. You see how many things in the field of awareness you have to observe. You might have observed if there is any objection to this kind of a breathing, it represents the impurity. The unconscious mind, the material there. Then we have many changes, experiences of tingling, of numbness, body freezes, cold and heat. Sometimes we have vision and colors. They point out at a different level how the mind is going inside. We will talk about it. And third is definitely you feel the calmness and the freshness and a sense of withdrawal from the world. We discussed, all the points that I mentioned today belongs to these changes. And one more changes that we will talk after the session. And now look at the triangle. Instantly visualizing the triangle, equilateral, pointing upward, three-pointed awareness. Again, I'm saying awake plus awareness. You are aware of the side of a triangle, you are aware of the movement of the mind, you are aware of the Om Shanti. All the three-pointed awareness, clockwise and anti-clockwise to check. The mind is syncing with the three-pointed awareness, and that is the right time to move the mind, pushing the mind inside with Om. Mind seemingly stops, Shanti, and you have a conscious awareness of self absorption. There, the new experiences are revealed. You may have a vision that you have been sharing. So, your focus is on the step, not on expecting any result. Now leave this and start Om Shanti Japa with the mind's eye, with the mind's ear, with the mind's touch, and with the mind's speech, because you are saying Om Shanti with the mind, tongue. So all the four senses are living in the mind. What happens? There is a natural tendency that you are totally withdrawn from the world outside, but still aware of it. Continue, my friends. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand. Mind is touching the right hand. Do you see that? And it you enjoy instead of a physical touch. You might be feeling that when I say move the mind on the left hand, that left hand feels the sensation. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences, bring the hands down. Now is the time to share our experiences and any question. How are you, Steve?
Good, thank you. I'm awake and I'm aware. I'm very calm. The meditation was effortless. I was like in this middle world. I heard you. I was just there. It was just, excuse me. It was so good. The only thing that I remember that startled me was right at when you said, now let's do the japa. I felt this collection of energy at the root of my spine,
Yeah.
and come up through my heart center where I actually coughed, which distracted me from this thing. And then I felt the sensation rising out of my body. And I said, oh, Girish would say those are the impurities leaving. And then I went right back into this deep meditation.
Yes, the impurities are leaving is one thing. And when the upsurge of energy is moving from bottom to the top, fact is that we are rising in awareness. You have been editing the Hatha Yoga book. So that is the entire summary. That when we feel an movement of the energy from bottom to the down, it is basically we are rising in awareness. And I think I already discussed about what do you mean by rise in awareness. Wonderful. That's a beautiful experience. How are you, David and Jerry?
Good morning. Namaste. Yeah, very, very powerful message, very powerful meditation. I felt like my intellect was in control of my mind for the most part. And I had playing some fun during the triangle, and I thought I'd do every second side of the triangle and switch sides just to mix it up a little bit. And that went flawlessly. So that told me I was, my mind was not listening to anything. So it was very good. Thank you.
You see, David shared, that's another beautiful experience. So it is not that you mechanically do the practice. What is very important, as Stephen said, awake, and you maintain that awareness. And through that awareness, you can play. You can move here and there. But in order to check that, you are already at a higher level of awareness. That is very important to understand, and that is what he explained beautifully. Beautiful. How are you, Jerry?
Very good, thank you. The meditation was just really smooth, absorbed. My takeaway from the lesson, and it occurred to me during the meditation as well, is that in Western kind of medicine, when we repeat something that creates struggle for us, we need to work on it. And they say, oh, you have to work on that. It might take a long time, since that habit's been with you for a very long time. It may take just as long to get rid of it. But in Eastern wisdom, the intellect knows that all it takes is being aware, because when we're making those repetitive things, we're unaware, we're unconscious. But if we're aware, then that's it. And it happens in a snap.
That's a beautiful way to. So we need not to be scared of our habit, especially in the Western medicine. First, they make you scared. You have what we say, we use definite word, obsession, craving, or you have a craving, binge eating. Forget the rest. Just you are awake, yes. Let us do the practice with awareness and see what is the result. Beautiful. That is a beautiful. How are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. Sir, I'm calm. It's like that, like how long I can hold that awareness with me, and also checking to what thought I lost that awareness, so I can come back and see that why I lost that awareness to that thought. So it's kind of learning.
It's a learning. You are doing the practice. Suddenly a thought comes, and you become aware this thought has come to because of the impurity. That is all. And then see what happens. You continue to live into that awareness. That's another way to, these are the knowledge you are revealing for yourself. That is why I don't talk about that what will happen. Nothing will happen. How are you, Anastasia?
Thank you. I'm good. It was very deep meditation. Today I felt as if the gravitation works differently. My body was very heavy and I felt the air around my body as if it was fluid and my body was fluid. And I don't know, usually I don't see any visions or colors, but today I saw a deer. And I don't know if I saw it because you told and I believed it, it was a beautiful picture of a deer. Yeah. And about cravings and obsessions, I've noticed that because I was attached with sweet things like chocolates and biscuits. And I decided that I deal it later because I need to deal with my mother's attachment, for example, at first. And it's been a year, like I'm attending the class, and I have noticed that I don't need chocolates and biscuits anymore. I am craving oranges and spinach, something like that.
And I don't need more in my mind.
So still a little bit.
A little bit will also go. But now
But
you
it happened naturally to me.
have stopped complaining about mom that you have, in the beginning, very beginning, you have told me a lot of things. But now those thoughts are not coming. So there is definitely a change and a progress. And the body appears as a fluid mass. That means that the mind has totally absorbed inside. It doesn't mean that others have variety of experiences. So, but that is really good. So how are you, Ashok?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, very peace and calm. And I understood that awareness is simultaneously necessary for the awake.
Yeah.
Awakening and awareness both are awareness is must with the awakening.
Yes.
We are awake. So that you understood. So for that
Yeah.
we have to keep on watching our thoughts and even emotions and all that. So we have to be
Sure.
calm.
Because I'm awake, but I'm not aware, then I'm not watching and observing the unwanted, unwelcome thoughts during the day.
Okay.
And is going to put me into the problem. Just a minute, I will think, let me stop this, then I tell you something which came to my mind. I think you